Welcome you all in C++ template series. In the last video we have discussed first topic, that is function templates with more than one generic type, and in this video we are going to discuss next topic, that is overloading function template. So let's start. Just like normal functions, function template can also be overloaded. A function template can be overloaded either using another function template or non-function template. Non-function template means we can simply say it as normal function. First point is, a function template is said to be overloaded with another function template if the name of the function remains the same, but number of parameters vary. Let us discuss this with the help of an example. Now in this example, it is a program to calculate minimum of 2 and 3 numbers of any type. So in this function template, this function receives 2 parameters, right, of any type, right, and calculates minimum of those 2 numbers and then return back where it is called. And this is another template function which can take 3 parameters and calculate minimum of those 3 numbers and returns where it is called. So these two are different function templates. First can calculate minimum of 2 numbers and second can calculate minimum of 3 numbers, and you can see function name is same but number of parameters they can receive are different. So here it can receive 2 parameters and it can receive 3 parameters. So now I think first point is clear to you guys. And now second point is, a function template is said to be overloaded with non-template function if the name of the function remains the same but the function's arguments are different. First of all, what is meant by non-template function? It is the normal function. Alright, so let us discuss this with the help of an example. So here this is a template which we have discussed, that it takes 2 parameters of any type t and calculate minimum of those 2 numbers and then return minimum number, right, of these 2. Now this is another function, or you can say it is a normal function whose name is same as that of this function, but this is p is a parameter which points to character array and q is a parameter which points to char array. But here in a case of template function, this a and b are the parameters of type generic type t and calculates minimum of those 2 numbers. And here these are, you can say the name of the function is same as that of the function template but arguments are different, right? So now I think these 2 points are clear to you. A function template is said to be overloaded with non-template function if the name of the function remains the same but function's arguments are different. Alright, so now let us discuss this program. So here I have discussed that this is a function template, right, and function name is calmin, right. This takes 2 parameters of any type t and returns minimum of those 2 numbers, and with the help of this conditional operator, firstly it will evaluate this expression, is a is less than b. If a is less than b, then it will return a, and if a is greater than b, then it will return b. So what we are doing, we are returning back the minimum of those 2 numbers which it is received. And here this is another template function and it can take 3 parameters of any type t and calculate minimum of those 2 of those three numbers. And how it will calculate? It will calculate with the help of ternary operator. So the innermost bracket will be evaluated first, and this is the innermost bracket, sorry. So this is the innermost bracket. So first of all it will calculate is B is less than C. If B is less than C, then B will be returned, and if B is greater than C, then C will be returned. Then whatever returned from this, then this bracket will be resolved. Alright, now is A is less than C? If A is less than C, then A will be returned, and if A is greater than C, then C will be returned. And then this will be evaluated. If A is less than B, then this will be returned, which is returned by this conditional, means you can say this expression, or and then if A is greater than B, then whatever returned from this will be returned. You can simply change it by if else construct, right? But I am not going to make it very complex, so that is why I am using simply this conditional operators, right? So now here in the main function, here we are calling cal main function, and we are passing two integer numbers. So the control will shift to this, and a new version of cal main is created for this integer values. So minimum of these two, and that means 10 will be returned because 10 is less than 20. Alright, then minimum of two float, then this process will be repeated for float and again for char, and from these two capital A will be returned because it will compare it based on their ASCII codes. Alright, and ASCII code of capital A is 65 and small a is 95, so 65 is less than 95, and here the return type is char, so 65 is not returned. Instead of 65, capital A will be returned. Okay, so here now see, here we are passing three int numbers, so control will shift to here. A new version of cal main is created which can take three parameters of type int, and it will return int. After calculating the minimum of those three numbers, the number which is minimum of another two numbers, it will be returned back here. And same is repeated in this case. Here 3.1 will be returned, and here capital A will be returned because ASCII code of capital A is 65 and capital X is 88 and ASCII code of capital R is 82. So capital A will be returned. Okay, so let us run this code in VS Code. So here is the code which we have discussed. This is the template function, right? This is another template function which can take three parameters, and here we are calling these, and these are same as that we have discussed. So let us run this code. Okay, I was checking is this selected or not. Okay, so output. So this is the output. Minimum of int is this. So this I have already told you about this. You can check out. Okay, so let us move forward. Now these are some rules. If you have both the template function and non-template function, then compiler checks from which point. So these are some rules. The compiler selects the appropriate overloaded function according to the following rules. Compiler first searches for non-template function to find the exact match in which the function name and its argument types match with those of the function call. So compiler first searches for non-template function, so it will first search for normal function. Okay, and if it fails to find such a match, then it will check for function template. Is there any function template? Right, then for that, so it will match to function template, and if it again fails, then it will generate an error. Okay, so first of all, let us discuss this. So this is a program to overload function template with non-function template. Okay, so in this program we overload function template calmin, so that in addition to calculate minimum of two numbers, right, of any type, it should also calculate minimum of two strings. Why? Because the function template calmin computes a minimum of two variables of type int, float, char. But if you want to calculate minimum of two strings, then this template will not solve the problem, as the method to compare two strings is different. Right, we compare two strings with the help of function strcmp, string compare function. So in such a situation, we need to overload the function template with non-function template. Alright, so here this is the same that we have discussed earlier, and now here this is a calmin function. So it invokes two non-template function. So sorry for interruption. So here we are calling so here we are calling this calmin function, and we are passing two strings. Alright, so we are passing two strings. First, according to the rule, first it searches for any non-template function. Is there any match for non-template function? Then rather than going to this function template, it first searches for normal function. So it will come here, and control will shift here. And first of all, what is string compare function? This function takes two arguments. So this string compare function, this is defined in string.h header file. So we have to include that file first of all in our program. And string compare function, it takes two parameters, right, and here those parameters are p and q, that can be a string variable. Alright, and this function compares the strings p and q character by character, and the comparison is terminated if unequal characters are found or end of the strings is reached, or you can say null character. So this function returns an integer value depending upon the relative order of the two strings. A value of 0 is returned if p and q, means the strings that we have passed, are identical, then value returned will be 0. And if s1 is alphabetically precedes s2, or you can say s1 is less than s2, right, so then negative value will be returned. And if positive value returned, then that means s2 is alphabetically precedes, means q precedes alphabetically p. Alright, so here we are passing abc, right, so this is a char array. So p is pointing to this char array and q is pointing to this char array. So here we are passing two strings, and it will compare those two strings. We are comparing those two strings with the help of string compare function. And if p is less than q, then negative value will be returned. So if p is less than q, then p will be returned. If p is greater than q, then q will be returned. Alright, so we are checking with the help of this variable k, and if this returns negative value, or you can say less than 0, then obviously p is less than q alphabetically. So here this will check character by character. So first it will compare a with x, and if a and x, that means first characters of these two strings, are equal, then it moves to next character and then compare, and if it finds two unequal characters, then it stops and it checks is a is less than x. Yes, this is true. So this p is less than q, so negative value will be returned and abc will be our output, or it will stop when it finds a null character, or either it can find null character or an unequal character, and at that point it will compare those two characters. So here we are calculating minimum of two integer numbers, here we are calculating minimum of two float numbers, and here we are calculating minimum of two strings, because we can't compare two strings with the help of this logical operator. Okay, so we are comparing these two strings with the help of string compare function, and we have defined one another non-template function, or you can say normal function. So in this case the compiler doesn't call the function template, because as a rule it first searches for non-template function, and if match occurs it invokes it. So here you can say the first rule, compiler first searches for non-template function, so it will first search for non-template function, and if it fails to find it, then it will search for function template. So here this call compiler, when it encounters this call, then it will first search for non-template function, or you can say any call is this call, then first it search for non-template function, and if it fails to find, then it will move to this template function. Alright, so that is why here this template function, control will not shift here, control will shift to this function, this non-template function. So this is our rules. Fine. So let us run this code in VS Code first. Okay, so this is the same that we have discussed. So let us run this code. Oops, there is an error. Temp code. Oops, I have selected, and see that I have selected this command and then run, so that is why I am getting an error. So okay, this is a major problem, you can say, of this VS Code. Okay, so this is the output. Actually wait, I have okay, so this is our output. Thank you so much for watching this video.